Our kitchens today are, well, they're packed with technology, right? We've got air fryers that do everything, vacuum sealers, precision ovens. But you have to wonder, in gaining all this high-tech efficiency, did we lose something? Some kind of quiet, deep wisdom that used to be passed down? Okay, let's get into this.
Think about it. Just a couple of generations back, cooking wasn't about pressing a button. It was more like a dance with the rhythms of nature. In our grandmother's kitchens, you wouldn't find plastic packages with expiration dates. What you would find was an understanding of the seasons and this incredible library of knowledge built up over thousands of years. We gained all this tech, but maybe we lost a pretty fundamental connection along the way.
And that really is the big question we're tackling. What did we trade away for all this convenience? So, we're going to go on a little journey, a kind of culinary archaeology, if you will. We're going to dust off 5 ancient techniques that are basically in the DNA of flavor. Techniques our grandmothers knew by heart, but that we've pretty much forgotten.
Okay, so our first discovery takes us right back to the basics, where fire meets earth. Today, if we want to seal in moisture, we'd probably reach for some aluminum foil or parchment paper, right? But our ancestors used a much more living material to trap every single drop of steam and aroma.
This technique, which you could find all the way from Anatolia to Mesopotamia, was about so much more than just plugging a hole. That layer of clay or special mud literally turned the whole pot into a natural oven. It distributed the heat perfectly, evenly, all around. Absolutely nothing could escape.
So imagine it. The food inside is just gently steaming away in its own essence for hours on end, becoming unbelievably tender. Here's the takeaway. What we call slow cooking today, it isn't some modern invention. It is the direct legacy of an ancient hand, sealing a simple pot with a handful of earth.
When you hear the words kitchen chemistry, what do you picture? Probably labs and precise measurements, right? Well, our grandmothers were some of the greatest chemists out there, and one of their most powerful and surprising ingredients was something called ash water.
It sounds almost too simple, but just by soaking and filtering clean ashes from oak wood, they created a potent alkaline solution. And this wasn't just some rustic trick, no way. This was a powerful chemical tool that they used for some amazingly sophisticated things.
And the things they could do with it is incredible. It could act as a leavening agent to help dough rise. It could harden the skins of fruits, which was perfect if you were making jam and wanted the fruit to stay firm and almost glass-like, instead of just turning into mush. It even gave desserts like halva this amazing silky texture. You see where this is going, right? This was basically the great-great-grandfather of the pH regulators that the modern food industry uses today.
And this quote just captures that philosophy perfectly. They understood how to take a byproduct, the very end of a fire, and turn it into the beginning of new textures and new flavors. It was the absolute opposite of waste.
Okay, from down and dirty chemistry, let's move to something a little more aromatic. Today, if we want flavor, we usually get it from a little bottle of synthetic essence. But in the past, flowers weren't just for looking at. They were strategic ingredients in a well-stocked culinary pharmacy.
A really beautiful example of this comes from the Ottoman tradition of gul be şeker, which literally means rose to sugar. And this wasn't about just making something taste vaguely like rose. It was about capturing the very soul of the flower. They knew which flowers could calm your nerves, which ones added a certain kind of freshness. They used them with the precision of a botanist. Now, the technique here, it wasn't about heat or alcohol or any kind of aggressive extraction. It was about patience. They would gently rub the flower petals with sugar and then just leave the mixture in the sun to mature. Time and sunlight did all the heavy lifting, processing the aroma in the most natural way possible. We buy flavor, they cultivated it.
All right, our fourth secret takes us underground into probably the most mysterious part of the old world kitchen, the world of fermentation. We're all talking about probiotics now, but for our ancestors, this was just a fundamental art of survival, and they had a secret weapon.
The real key wasn't just putting things in a dark cellar. No, the game changer was burying them in the earth. See, a few feet underground, the temperature is remarkably stable all year round. This creates the perfect natural incubator, letting all those good bacteria do their work in the most efficient way possible.
And this process did so much more than just preserve the food. As the food sat there, underground, it absorbed minerals from the soil, and it developed this incredibly deep, complex, savory flavor. A flavor that today we have a very specific scientific name for: umami.
What fancy restaurants now sell as a delicacy was once just hiding in clay pots in everybody's backyard.
And for our fifth and final secret, we're looking at an ingredient we all know, but used in a way we've almost completely forgotten. We are talking about using fat, not just for cooking, but as a powerful protective shield.
You've probably heard the French term confit, right? Or maybe the Turkish kavurma. Well, the principle behind both is genius in its simplicity. You cook meat very slowly in its own rendered fat. Then, as the whole thing cools, that fat solidifies on top, creating a perfect airtight seal. I mean, think about it. In a world with no refrigerators, that solid cap of fat was the best protection you could ask for against oxygen and spoilage. Meat kept this way could last for months, and all the while it would just keep getting more tender, maturing inside its little fatty cocoon. It's so ironic, isn't it? As we try to engineer fat out of our diets, we're losing one of nature's most effective preservatives and most powerful carriers of flavor. So when you look at all 5 of these secrets together, what do they all teach us? They all share one profound lesson: that real culinary art isn't about fighting nature. It's about understanding its rules and then translating them into flavor.
This chart really lays it all out, doesn't it? Sealing a pot with clay? Well, that's the foundation of modern slow cooking. Using ash water? That's just a natural pH regulator. That mysterious underground fermentation? It's the original source of probiotics and the secret to developing umami. And the confit method? A perfect oxygen barrier. The science was always there. We've just given it new names.
The real point here is that we can bring this wisdom back. Maybe you're not going to go bury a pot in your backyard tomorrow, I get it. But you can bring back the patience of slow cooking. You can try to understand the basic chemistry of your ingredients, and you can appreciate the amazing natural processes that create deep, real flavor.
Which gets me thinking. These are just 5 lost techniques that we've managed to uncover. But there are countless others living on in family histories and memories. So I have to ask you, what is the one kitchen secret, that one piece of forgotten wisdom that was passed down from your grandmother? Let us know. Let's try and keep this history alive together.